High set, giving Metzger time to make the room. Another dig by AJ. And nice play by Metzger. At 25 years old, after his career was concluded at UCLA in 1996, played professionally indoors in Turkey, and now solely dedicated to playing on the beach.
Reaction.
Adam Johnson, but Stein comes back and makes a defensive play of his own, and that's what they're doing great. They're not giving up a lot of points in a row.
Metzger used just out of bounds.
He's got a little smile on his face, but he's frustrated up there. He's got his hands on a lot of balls, and they've just been ricocheting off his hands just out of bounds. This is good blocking position, but sometimes the luck of the draw, when you got a guy hitting as hard as Adam Johnson, you can't control that ball in your blocking motion.
Boy, Kirai and Johnson are digging a lot of balls here early in game two, trying to close it out, and off to a very good start. 2-0, Kirai and Johnson leading over Metzger and Anjihno.
And everyone's digging, but more importantly, Karch Kirai is finishing. And that's the key to the great defensive players. Everyone can dig, but digging and then getting back on your feet and transitioning, that separates the great ones from just the great defensive players.
Karch there again. And Adam Johnson setting very well. I know that was a relatively easy chance, but that was in perfect position for old Pinky Hat to take a swing.
Well, Anjihno and Metzger are going to have to take a timeout or something right now, because Karch is just locked into their shots. He's locked into their hits, and they got to change the momentum a little bit.
Do you take a timeout now, or do you wait for the side change? And we're getting the answer right now. I was curious as to what you might have done strategically, but Anjihno and Metzger will take the sand timeout right now and try to stem the tide.
Definitely. I would have taken a sand timeout, because you don't want to go down 4-0 in the second game and just get that much more behind the 8 ball. If they can take a little sand timeout, break the rhythm, get a few side outs, get point number 1, get on the board, get a little momentum going, they're in much better shape going into the side change.
Enjoying a good tournament here in Cincinnati. More next week in Cleveland. Our beach volleyball coverage continues from Ohio when the tour heads to Cleveland next Sunday, June 28th. It's the AVP Tour on Fox Sports Net. Be sure and check your local listings for the time it will air in your respective market.
And the sand timeout paid off. Stein got up and banged it off Adams' block. See if they can get a point, get on the board, and get going in the right direction.
Stein Metzger, born and raised in Honolulu, Hawaii, went to Punahou High School, a school that has produced a long, long list of superior volleyball players. Adam Johnson banging down the middle, and one of them, I know you remember personally, but did you remember that Peter Ehrman won a tournament with Karch Kirai, the Hawaii State Championships, probably back in 1979, a rare bit of beach volleyball trivia.
That might be one of the few asterisks on Karch's open win resume.
I got you. Okay,
there's some other guys with quite a few asterisks, but that might be the one. Maybe that Outrigger Open that he won with Hovland, too. That might be a slight asterisk. But
see, that's what's perfect about my record. I've never won an Open on the beach, so I have no asterisk next to any of my results.
That's right. Flawless.
No
flawless
guilt.
record.
No guilt on my part. Anjihno going high loopy to Adam Johnson, running him deep. And a net violation and tooled by Stein Metzger. Karch Kirai, just to continue that thought, has won with St. John Smith, Brent Frohoff, Tim Hovland, Scott Akatubby. As we get a look at Adam Johnson, once again, a very, very quick arm swing. There's Peter Ehrman. I'm putting an asterisk next to it right now just for you, Mike Dodd, Kent Steffes, and Adam Johnson. A lot of different partners.
You're forgetting one at least.
I don't think so.
He won 3 tournaments with me.
Well, you got to check the AVP record books then, or I have to look a little more closely. I'm just getting you. I knew they were there.
Long time ago.
There's Stein Metzger ripping the ball hard cross court. Maybe Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai making a mistake. They had all the momentum, and they're going to Metzger an awful lot, who follows things up with his first ace right up the middle. I won't give that one hubby wife credit. That one was just untouchable, just inside the end line.
That was a rocket, and they answered our question. They took the sand, they got a few side outs, and they got that ace serve, and now they're in much better shape.
Finally get on the scoreboard. After winning game 1, Kirai and Johnson break on top. Fox Sports Arizona. Back back in Cincinnati. Welcome to the Miller Lite AVP Tour and our coverage right here on Fox Sports Net. Paul Sunderland with Mike Dodd, Kirian Johnson, the winner of Game 1. Best 2 out of 3 games, broke out on top 3-0, but Stein Metzger with the ace. Now 3-1 at the side change. Very hard-packed, soaking surface right now. That ball set a little bit back, and AJ dealing with it long down the line.
AJ with great court vision, and Paul, the umbrellas are back out again. It's starting to drizzle a little bit. Keep an eye on the ball control, but so far, rain or shine, these players have had great ball control, great sighting out, and just fantastic defense on both sides.
I don't think much impact on the game. It'll probably take Stein Metzger's hands out of the match, but he can bump set exceptionally well. Great ball control. Blocked by Karch-Kiraly. We brought up the subject of how good a blocker was Karch-Kiraly early in this match. And Mike Dodd, you said maybe the best inch for inch, and he has really turned it on blocking in Game 2.
I think that's really been the difference in the match, is Karch's blocking and Karch's and Adams' transition. They've been converting their defensive opportunities. Stein and Anjihno have not.
Anjihno, nice touch. AJ almost there with his sand wedge, arguing that he got the ball up. Brantley looking down, saying, no, a little too much turf.
A little too big of a divot.
I think you would have argued on that one too, Mike. Maybe just a little bit too much terra firma.
Just in general anyway, argue.
Right in front of B. Lee. Maybe that was the problem.
Just get in his mind so he might miss the next one.
Karch tight set, no block. Big mistake by Stein Metzger. Is Adam Johnson, maybe Jose Loyola, are they the only 2 players quick enough to really get to that low spinning set and bang away at it?
They're definitely 2 of the best at it. I know there's other players just as quick and just as fast. Emmanuel, a fantastic athlete. Karch-Kiraly, he gets to a lot of balls. But Adam definitely, not only does he have good footwork, but his arm is just so fast that he's able to whip that ball as it's in its downward arc and before it gets below the top of the net.
A lot of people only know Adam Johnson as a beach player, but a superb indoor player at USC. 4 times led the Trojans to the Final Four, never took home a championship. And I saw him play a lot when he was in college and played with him briefly on the national team. And he could hit all the combination sets, right side, left side. Was really an exceptional player because of that arm swing.
He was a great all-round player, and I think just one of those in-between type of guys that really couldn't find his niche on the national team.
Wasn't nearly as physical then as he is now, even though he's 33 years of age. Much bigger, much stronger now physically. Nice transition play by Kirian Johnson. They take the 5-1 lead and are starting to get in control, not only of this game, certainly, but of the entire match.
Great play by Karch-Kiraly out of the net. If you're a young player, watch Karch. Gets low, lets the ball play itself out of the net, gives Adam Johnson a perfect set, and that's the way you play those balls in the net.
The rain continues to come down here in Cincinnati. It's been intermittent all day long. Tight to the net. AJ's there, Karch is there, and Stein Metzger, I think, with a little self-defense. I know Anjihno's into karate. I don't know if Stein Metzger is, but a pretty good move there to save his frolob, as we say, meaning his frontal lobotomy. Karch about hammered him.
Definitely self-defense, and I think Karch answered the question whether or not he's quick enough to get a low shooting ball up at the net. He rose.
Kirian Johnson now on top 6-1 after winning Game 1. Both teams very difficult semifinal matches. Stuff block. Metzger is there. Stuff block off Karch's head. And that ball never cleared. Adam Johnson looking for a net violation against Stein Metzger, will not get that play. Metzger whooping it up a little bit and trying to get this crowd involved. And I want to thank the crowd for hanging in. Sometimes it has rained very, very hard here today.
Talk about a couple of frolobs, Paul. I think there was a couple of blocks that went right off the heads of the players, back over the net. Both Stein, Anjihno, Karch, and Adam just hanging tough, and Adam unable to get that last hit over the net, kind of knocked the ball into the net, forcing Stein to touch the net.
Anjihno and Stein Metzger got to make a move here. These are the kind of plays that should give them a chance. Looking for two in the side change, another dig. Boy, that has been the story throughout this championship. Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai just putting on a clinic defensively. It's not that Anjihno and Metzger are playing badly. Their level of play has still stayed at a very high point, but just can't do anything with AJ and Karch.
Making great defensive plays, but then Adam and Karch come right back with an even better one, and they transition and put the ball away for the side out.
Adam Johnson standing at the net as that ball lands harmlessly to his left. Karch Kirai missing the serve, grabbing his head, going, hey, we got this team down a little bit. Let's finish it off.
Exactly, and you could sense that in the body language of Stein Metzger after that last dig by Adam Johnson and put away, just kind of flailing his arms up in the air saying, what do I have to do to get a ball down against these guys?
Well, more than he's been doing, which is a lot. He's been hitting the ball well, hitting some good angles, but AJ and Karch, one of those days like you used to have with Whitmarsh when you make the court look very, very small. Every time you hit the ball somewhere, one of them is standing in the angle or cross court or somewhere.
Karch with a nice side out, and you're right, Paul, they're just in the zone right now. You're anticipating, and it just seems like every move you make defensively is the right one.
And no one.
Anjihno, good, hard, deep shot down the line.
And the good news for Stein and Anjihno is that they're only down 5. Kirai and Johnson are making all these great defensive plays, great transitions, great points, great blocks. But Anjihno and Stein, a couple good jump serves, a couple good defensive and transitions of their own, and they're right back in the match.
That ball served out of bounds. Maybe now Anjihno trying to go for a little bit more than he was in game 1.
Well, that's what happens when you play against the great ones. They force you to try to go outside of yourself and do something maybe that you're not really capable of doing.
Anjihno, hard cross court. Now I want to ask you, Anjihno and Stein Metzger, it's one thing to make it to a final. It's another to play well week after week after week and stay in the mix. Top 5 finishes. Is this the kind of team that can do that on a consistent basis?
I think so. I mean, you saw the player profile with Todd Rogers, and he and his partner are the same way, Dax Holdren. Great ball control, throwback players. Stein and Anjihno are throwback players. They play the defense, they do the jump serves, they do all the crazy little shots that experienced beach players do. And as you can tell by Dax Holdren and Todd Rogers, one of the most consistent teams on the beach.
Right now there's Karch Kirai, Adam Johnson, Jose Loyola, and Emmanuel. They're playing up in Canada this weekend at an international event. They will be in Cleveland next week. And now you have Mike Whitmarsh and Kent Steffes. Again, if you're just joining us, Whitmarsh and Steffes finished 9th this week after coming in as the #1 seeded team.
Sometimes it doesn't matter whether you're playing baseball or basketball. The universal rule is defensive play gets you through. If you're great in defense, it'll push you through the times when your offense isn't that great, whether it's baseball or basketball or volleyball. And Stein and Anjihno are great defensive players, and sometimes their jump serve and their offensive game might not be that great, but their defense can pull them through the match.
That point you made about Scottie Pippen and the Bulls when they won their 6th championship, I mean, Pippen just took over that series until he hurt his back from a defensive standpoint.
It was poetry to watch the way that guy played defense and just messed with not only the guy he was guarding, but everyone else on the court. It seemed like he had a hand or flicking a finger in there and knocking a ball away.
Johnson and Kirai, 3 minutes and 21.2 seconds left in game 2, discussing a little strategy or service order mistake right here. John Martin, our umpire, clarifying things, and AJ will turn the ball over to partner Karch Kirai. Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai have 6 digs in game 2. That's been the key, and they were very, very good defensively in game 1. Anjihno tapping down the line. Good side out by Anjihno. Adam Johnson again, 33 wins, number 10 all time. 2 so far this year, Tucson and Sacramento, trying to make it 2 in a row and 3 overall here. Won 4 tournaments last year, all with Karch Kirai. 7 in 1996 with Jose Loyola.
Just a great, smooth, steady side out for Karch Kirai and Adam Johnson. Stein and Anjihno are going to have to take a few more risks on their serve if they want to get themselves back in the match and if they want to get Kirai and Johnson in trouble.
If they're hoping for mistakes or hoping that Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai have sort of run out of defensive magic, I think they're making a mistake. They're going to have to make some big plays and just really, really side out. You know, there's 3 minutes and 11 seconds left. It's a lifetime. Game to 11. Kirian Johnson won game 1, 10-7. Last week, Kirian Johnson in Sacramento beat the new team of Jose Loyola and his partner Emmanuel, and beat them handily 15-4 in the finals. That was in Sacramento. So clearly Kirian Johnson are a very hot team.
Definitely back on track, Paul. We mentioned it earlier in the broadcast that they went through a little down spurt during the middle of the tour. They were mentally maybe not quite as into it as they should have been. Adam summed it up. They weren't having fun on the court, and I think the last 2 weekends they're having a lot more fun. They seem, just in their facial expressions, in their reactions, they're getting along better. They're having more fun. They're more relaxed. And that's usually when you play your best.
And making energized kind of plays. They're not just looking to force mistakes. They're hustling. They're supporting one another, digging a lot of balls. Here's Metzger going up against Adam Johnson. Karch hanging middle deep, trying to break to the ball, and Metzger able to put that ball away.
Stein with very good mechanics. He uses his arms very well to jump in his spiking motion. Just seeing the ball cross court and taking a rip at it.
Really hard packed back at the service line for both of these teams. Adam Johnson high off the block of Stein Metzger. And we'll take a look at the court here where Adam Johnson is walking back to. You see the area around the linesman's feet. It's just absolutely completely packed down, and where Adam Johnson is, a very hard packed liftoff area. Welcome back to the AVP Open at Cincinnati, presented by Cincinnati Bell Wireless. Karch Kiraly and Adam Johnson, the number 2 seeds, in control of this championship match so far. They were the 2nd seed, won game 1, although Anjihno and Stein Metzger gave them a real battle. They took that game 10-7 and came out really looking to put an end to things. Have been in complete control of game 2 and now leading 6-1. Paul Sunderland with Mike Dodd. Been raining off and on all day long, but so far really has not impacted the competition. Big bang up the middle by Adam Johnson. AJ had 13 kills in game 1 and has 9 so far in game 2.
Great side out for Adam Johnson, just ripping this ball over his head. Metzger makes the right play. He drops off the net here, but Adam putting so much heat on the ball, you just can't control it on the defensive end.
Anjihno, nice cut shot. Again, the fake block and retreat that time by Adam Johnson. Match is stalled just a little bit, but primarily it seems because Anjihno and Stein Metzger can't score. When they were tied at 6 in game 1, it was because of aces, hustle plays, and I'm not saying that the energy or effort has gone out of them. I'm just saying that the performance of AJ and Karch has been so smooth and so solid that they can't get anything going.
I think the word might be stifling. They're just so smooth on their siding out. Stein and Anjihno haven't gotten them in trouble at all in this second game. And there was also just a number of great defensive plays, defensive rallies at the very beginning of the match. Now it seems Karch and Adam have a good lead, but the teams have settled down and are starting to side out a little better.
33-year-old father of 2, Adam Johnson, to serve it up.
Yeah. Oh, line. All right. There it is. Over.
And one of the more mundane opportunities in conversions for Adam Johnson and Karch Kiraly. Anjihno and Stein Metzger are trying to hang in, but right now, the locomotive, the name on the front of that engine, is Karch Kiraly and Adam Johnson on top by 6.
The beach. We'd wait for hours, then play for about 2 minutes before the big guys came and kicked us off. This was every day. Now each time I play, I hear the voice of every guy who ever told me to run home to mom. But I'm not bitter.
One of the many sites to visit and see. Colonial in architecture on the outside. The Taft Museum here in Cincinnati. A lot in this area. Cincinnati right on the border, the Ohio River. Kentucky across the way. And speaking of more of Ohio, our next stop for the AVP Tour will be in Cleveland, June 27th and 28th. Join us at the Nautica Center. Great place down on the flats in Cleveland for the best of beach volleyball. For tickets, call Ticketmaster at 216-241-5555. Back here in Cincinnati, this is the AVP Open presented by Cincinnati Bell Wireless. And talk about wired. Karch-Kiraly and Adam Johnson wired into everything that Anjihno and Stein Metzger have tried to throw at them. AJ blocked by Metzger, and maybe one of the rare mistakes, and I'll almost call that an unforced error. I thought Kiraly was going to shoot that ball on two and finish that rally.
I think you're definitely seeing fatigue starting to set in with Metzger and Anjihno. Yesterday they had a tough three-game match with Heiger and Tanner. They had another tough three-game match this morning in the semis with Garrido and Gomez. And I think that the fatigue factor is really starting to take hold of Anjihno and Stein.
And hard to get energized when you're playing against a team that they're playing like they're on cruise control, but they're just executing. They're out executing Anjihno and Stein Metzger right now. Metzger and Anjihno have had a superb tournament. Make no mistake about that. First final ever for Stein Metzger, and probably not his last. I think that's a fairly safe prediction.
And cut.
Anjihno banging cross court, and I know Anjihno not necessarily out of the mix, but he was right in the heart of things on the Miller Lite AVP Tour when he was playing with Jose Loyola. Bounced around to certain partners, thought that he could get right back into it with Randy Stoklos. That didn't work out. And as I mentioned earlier, played with a number of partners, and he and Stein Metzger have got something good going. Adam Johnson off the block. Metzger able to get to that play.
If he could have just got a little higher, we could have seen another
bicycle kick. We absolutely would have seen the bicycle kick from Anjihno earlier on. You know that Anjihno is from Brazil. He laid one up just perfect. I couldn't have bump set it better than that, and he got it with his foot.
Now, if Metzger just gets this ball up a little higher, Anjihno goes back and does the Pele double scissors kick. Spike.
Send him to France and sign him up.
Yeah. And like cut. Come on.
Anjihno tapping the ball down the line.
Great athlete, Anjihno, and a really great.
Tinting your car windows is a good...
Stein Metzger to serve. Boy, game one. Did they let it slip away? At 6-all, I'm not really sure, but since that time, Adam Johnson and Karch-Kiraly have been rolling. A chance for Metzger here, set well back.
And cut.
Super set by Adam Johnson off the dig. Just a great set. That was Dodd-esque.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate that. But what we really saw in this last rally was what this match has been all about. Great defense on both sides, but the difference being that Kiraly and Johnson finished the defensive plays. Metzger, Anjihno, tons of defensive plays, not able to convert into point opportunities.
Johnson to serve, going deep, changing the pace a little bit, deep down the line. And Metzger able to sneak that one inside of Karch-Kiraly. And I want to ask you, you've seen every tournament this year. Are Karch-Kiraly and Adam Johnson playing much better than they did? They won the first week in Tucson, but then they hit a bit of a lull. Are they back on it again and playing very well?
Most definitely. Their last two performances 2 weeks ago up in Sacramento at Folsom Lake, and this weekend here in Cincinnati, they've been outstanding in every aspect of their game.
Full field for you next week in Cleveland, and we'll see what happens to Kent Steffes and Mike Whitmarsh trying to bounce back. A disappointing 9th place finish in their first effort this week, but congratulations to a team that took care of business. Brent Doble and Dan Castillo took down the #1 seeded team of Whitmarsh and Steffes in the second round, 10-8, 10-8.
They ended up taking a 5th, a great finish for them for the weekend, and kind of a bad break for Steffes and Whitty. You know, you're just getting together as a team. You'd like to get more games than less games, and they run in their first event a single elimination format. Had it been double, they could have gone down in the losers bracket, played some more games, gotten some rhythm as a team together, and they've got the chemistry to be really tough.
Really like that team mentally. Very tough, very experienced. That ball set tight to the net. Anjihno is blocked
Out of
That
bounds.
ball just out of bounds. But a question for you. Karch Kirai and Kent Steffes, although they lived about 60, 70 miles apart, as we get another look at Adam Johnson's very, very quick arm swing off the block and out of bounds. Karch and Kent used to practice together all the time. Kent and Jose lived about 15 miles apart, used to practice all the time. Kent lives in Pacific Palisades, just north of Los Angeles. Mike Whitmarsh lives in San Diego. Will that be a factor in how often or how long it will take them to get their game together?
I think it's definitely a factor.
Get up, get up. Come on.
Another easy play for Adam and Karch.
Bang in cross court. This one is done. Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai will win their third title of the year. They won the first event of the season in Tucson, then won all in game 1, and maybe game 2. Kirai and Johnson were just too good. But this is a team that I think if they push themselves and really fight, they can be a factor. I like the comparison to Holdren and Rogers. I think they're very similar in terms of physicality and ability. And a net violation on Stein Metzger. Wearing a heavy bandage on his right knee. Doesn't suffer from tendonitis or jumper's knee, if you will, but in chasing after a ball earlier in the tournament, ran into one of the courtside barriers or banners and suffered a laceration on his right knee, and he's been tended to by the medical staff, and not really a big factor. Easy to say when it's his knee. Under 20 seconds. Under 10 seconds. Long rally at the end. Anjihno having some fun at the end, and you see the difference, the advantage that the Brazilians have over the Americans. If this game was played
World Cup.
No, if
Play
this
volleyball.
If this was played with feet and heads, Kirai and Johnson would be getting crushed. Anjihno, do you give him a kill here?
You give him an attempt, but Kirai was there on the defense.
Okay, you got it. Metzger misses that serve. Stein Metzger, graduate again of UCLA in '96, went to Turkey and played professionally, had hopes of playing on the U.S. team, but said, look, Loy Ball at 6'9", the #1 setter, I don't want to go somewhere and sit on the bench. I want to play, and I want to play indoors, but I can't, so I'm going to get out here on the beach. This one's over. Oh, pinky hat can't do it.
Got in the way.
You know, Karch will never take that off when he's playing volleyball on the Miller Lite AVP Tour.
And he's a little embarrassed because he was quite a soccer player when he was growing up.
He was indeed.
He wanted to show himself a little better than that last play.
Well, there's the championship. A good final until Adam Johnson and Karch Kirai just took this match to an entirely different level. They win for the third time on the year. Soccer's not your game, Karch, but a win in Cincinnati will take care of everything else. Back to hear from the winners after this.